exhausted. Not exhausted. I feel like a anger, a feeling of anger. Um, a force, pressuring, a pressuring force, and resentment. I'm on the resentment end. You know, I'm not I'm not going with the flow right now. That's what it is. I'm not going with the flow right now. Um it's just a lot of I've been feeling a certain kind of way for so long, and you know, with patience is time. I feel sometimes I feel so confident. I feel really really confident, and at my most confident times is where I am who I am. This is me when I'm feeling at most confident. And it becomes hard for another person to see you for you because you don't know what they're seeing. I'm seeing me this way, but are you seeing me? You know, do you see me? You can never get rid of insecurity. You can never get rid of it. It's something you have to deal with. You know, are human beings actually beautiful? Are we beautiful? If we didn't touch our skin to where I need a nose job, I need an eye job, I need a lip job, I need a butt job, I need a breast job. If we didn't touch anything about ourselves, would we be considered beautiful? Would we be able to accept ourselves the way other people, you know, where other people disapprove? Where other people disapprove, will we be able to approve? Can we pick ourselves up when other people put us down? Recognition, identity, you know, who am I? Who am I? And you come to a point where I know exactly who I am. I know exactly who I am. The question is, do you know me? Do you see me? What do you see? What's in your mind? Sometimes I just want to open up somebody's mind and just see exactly what they're thinking. I said what just like that because it's like um you really you would say I would want to open up somebody's mind and know what they're thinking. But I in bold letters I'm saying I would love to open up somebody's mind and see exactly what they're thinking. When I open up your mind, am I seeing a color blue? Am I seeing a color purple? Am I seeing a color pink? Am I seeing a color black? Am I seeing a color white? Am I seeing the texture? The texture of the mind. Could the mind be silk? Could the mind be, you know, rough? Could the mind be hard? Could the mind be kind of kink? There's a kink, some kinks in it, kind of, just to actually see. It's not really about knowing, it's about, seeing. It's about seeing. What vibe do I give you? What image do I, do I reflect in your eyes? Who am I to you? When I know who I am to me and I step out and I see you, who am I to you? Because that has a huge role too. It's not only about me. It's not only about what I see, but it's also about how the world sees me, how you view me, because whatever you see, I may not see, but I can feel. I can feel whatever you are seeing. And that ruins me. And it ruins, Are humans beautiful? When I think of beauty, I think of life. And even that becomes questionable. When I think of beauty, I think of what defines beauty. Creating that. So it's like the bird is coming from the light. And there's grass back here. I actually want to do some tree painting in the background because this is more, it stands out. So now I want to do some trees in the background. And then that's when I came up with this one. So I did that one. But we was on the topic of insecurity. And in one of my videos, I actually spoke on insecurity. And I said, what can keep us content as women going through relationships and dealing with these insecure feelings in regards to other people. Other people can come into our life and build. It's so easy. It's so easy to build. To destroy somebody. It's so easy to break down. How the wolf go and they huff and they puff and they break down the wall. No, they break down all the homes until they come to the bricks and they notice that the pigs was safe inside the bricks because that wolf couldn't get through them bricks. It can go through the chimney and whatnot, but it cannot get through the bricks. So that's just an example of how if you're not built, if you don't take your time to build yourself up enough, it's easy to break you down. But even if you did, there will always be some type of insecurity from your past relationships that will eventually, that will poke at you. Whatever you've dealt with since you were a child, reflect back on your childhood. Whatever you dealt with since you were a child, that is still there, and that is still there for a reason. Maybe it's there to remind you that you are human. Maybe it's there to remind you that, you are not perfect. Maybe it's there to remind you that you You still got a lot, to work with. You still have something, you know, I don't know. It's a constant reminder. Everybody, if you think of yourself, if you think like everybody was created with some type of birth defect, every child came out into this world and there was something imperfect about them. Unfortunately, me, I was born with so many freaking imperfections. Like usually it's like one, two, or three things, or no, usually it's just one thing. Somebody has one thing they have to focus on. But me as a person, maybe that just makes me so freaking unique, in God's eyes, that I have to be faced with all these imperfections, and I'm just given that task, of working through all of these imperfections. Because not only one, like I said, not only one. I have freckles. I have a mole. That's only two that I feel insecure about. Two things I feel insecure about is my freckles and my mole. I grew into my mole as a beauty mark. Like I love my mole, but it's just, the freckles has always bothered me. I feel like they were a block towards anyone seeing, me past my freckles. And I deal with this all the time. I look out and I just look at everybody else and I'm like, they have so little to deal with. You don't have freckles in your face, but you have a mole, and it's like, it's easy to accept. You have freckles in your face, but you don't have a mole. That's easy to accept. But it's like, when you have two, when you're basically the full package of, what's imperfect, it's not so easy to accept. You deal with that all the time. I don't mean to cry. I'm not supposed to be crying right now. But yeah, so it's like I have a lot I deal with, and I've come from, makeup. I don't wear makeup no more. I used to wear it all the time, and that's what made me feel like, I can be, connected. I'm connected with the world. I can be accepted now because I'm hiding all these imperfections that I see in my eyes. But I have learned to accept it. I don't feel imperfect anymore. I just feel like I'm accepting myself, and it's just on other people to accept me as me, because I've accepted me as me. And when you accept yourself to that point, you get to reflect. You get to project. So it's like the fact that, now I've accepted who I am. Now I can project what I'm feeling. Right? Beyond, touching my face, touching my hair. Beyond all of that, I can project in another way, I didn't used to, that just brought me to, I had to accept something in order for me. That's a whole nother story. Okay, so that's what I did learn. I learned that, whenever you feel insecure in a relationship, this is preparation, because you're going to have that feeling in your relationship. So you have to have contentment in knowing that your relationship will never be the same as your relationship with God. You're limited. That any relationship with, humans, any human experience, any relationship on this earth will always be limited. That love will always be limited. So therefore, you have to be content with the fact that, in God, my relationship with God is unconditional. just as everybody else. Like my relationship, I go into this relationship, but you have to go into this relationship knowing that there are conditions when you're on earth. Physical relationships on earth, there will be conditions. There are conditions, but be content with the fact that there are no conditions in your relationship with God. It's unconditional love. So with that being said, I wanted to, since I'm putting everything just out there, how I'm feeling. This is a song that I made. Just a pinch of salt is where my trust is placed. Going back down the path to a familiar face. Becoming unattached and wounded from the constant ruin of who I am. To what was picture painted perfect onto a shelf. Okay, I messed up. See, it's never gonna be perfect. You're always gonna have mistakes. Just a pinch of salt is where my trust is placed. Going back down the path to a familiar face. Becoming unattached and wounded from the constant ruin of who I am. To what was picture painted perfect on a softball glove. I was a catch to pass. Throw me back home, where my love was once grown from a seed in the garden, where the tree took sleeve to brace my colored stones. Into my cup I took a sip of chance without looking to change, but to accept receiving pain. I don't know how that song went. I just made it. I mean, I made it at the time. I did know how it went, but I don't know how it went. So I'm just guessing. This is like a real old song. So I made this a while ago. Another face closed into the filing cabinet I throw, opening my door, unsure of where to run, what to do. My walls were taken down, my only lost and found stood in the way of a pair of shoes walking away. Just a pinch of salt is where my trust is placed. Going back down the path to a familiar face. Becoming unattached and wounded from the constant ruin of who I am. To was picture painted perfect on a softball glove. I was a catch to pass. Throw me back home to where my love was once grown from a seed in the garden where the tree took sleep. to brace my color stones in my path. I was awakened into my cup. I took a sip of chance without looking to change, but to accept receiving pain. That actually goes with everything that I'm talking about. Just a pinch of salt is where my trust is placed. I don't trust a lot. Going back down the path to a familiar face, becoming unattached. You know, I go back, I walk down this path, and I still see a lot of people. I see a lot of people, that I recognize, and I begin to become unattached. Me myself, I detach myself because of I'm still wounded, from all the ruin of what I am to what was picture painted perfect. So I feel like I'm a ruined picture. I was this picture, I was that picture, and now it's like I'm not that picture anymore. So I'm constantly facing, that on a daily basis, and anybody who knows me knows who I used to be. So therefore now who I am now is not what they expected, or maybe it's not even who they accept. I brought softball glove into it because I used to play softball when I was younger, and that was one of my favorite sports. So I just imagine myself of, um, picture painted perfect onto a softball glove. I don't know, that kind of, now that I think about it, it's like that was who I was. When I was in softball, it's like when I did softball, that's the best picture of me that I could imagine. I turned it into a fashion. Like, it's like I had my pink helmet on, I had my pink glove, and I always did all these little things to put myself together. But at the same time, I had love for the sport, and maybe my love for the sport reflected onto me all those different colors. Because I really took passion to that sport. That's kind of what I'm getting at it is. And I was the catch to pass. So I reflected that I reflected my sport onto what I was feeling at the time. And I kind of had a vision of where I was going. So I used this sport to capture this vision. I was a catch to pass. So when I was perfect in everybody's eyes at that moment, where I was perfect, that I was that catch. I was a catch, to pass to another person. That's not actually how you're supposed to see it, because you want to be the catch, and you don't want to pass on that catch. You want to be the catch, to catch the catch to just keep. But at that time, that's what I was feeling like before. I felt like I was the catch to pass. Throw me back home. I'm the catch to pass, but I'd rather be back home. Pass me back home instead of passing me from place to place to place to place. I want to go back home. Throw me home then. Where my love was once grown from a seed in the garden, where the tree took sleep to brace my color stones. I felt the most accepted at home. Anything that I did at home, from the city from where I was from, anything that I did at home, I felt the most accepted. I felt like I was supposed to be there doing what I did. Where the tree took sleeve is basically a hand reaching out to me saying that I accept you, I love you, I take you for who you are. To to brace my colored stones, any color that I am, acceptance. In my path, I was awakened. I was awakened at this time. I definitely was awakened, literally, reaching out to the trees in my spiritual path, my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening. Into my cup I took a sip of chance without looking to change, but to accept. I took a chance at pain. That's what that means. Of chance without looking to change. I took a sip of chance without looking to change. So sometimes what you're looking for is a chance you're taking blindfolded, And in this walk, I learned to accept receiving pain. And when you accept something, you're accepting change, if that makes sense. That's it. Gonna get